So the process for actually getting an investment varies depending on who you're taking the money from. So for example, in places like an accelerator like NFX, it's very structured. There is a date in which you have to submit your application. The application includes many questions. We then review the application. We invite part of the companies for interviews. They come for interviews. We decide who it is. We have a date in which we announce to them that they're in. So that's very structured and very easy, which is a big benefit for the companies because they know when it starts, they know when it ends. When you look at angel investors or early stage fund, it's very different. The reason is that the angel investor or the fund do not have any constraints on when do they need to invest. And as the early stage investor, theoretically, the best thing for you is to delay a little bit and see what's going to happen next and what's going to happen next. And so if you're about to launch something, I'll be stupid to not wait and see how does that go, right? Because I'm going to give you money. Now, that's not true, of course. Why? Because as an investor, if you're delaying the company, you're basically setting yourself up for failure because, as we said, speed is the most important thing. However, the outcome of this is that the processes are very unstructured. And I can tell you that there were companies where at the end of a 1 hour meeting, I told them I'm in. And and then we worked on the documents for another few days and I invested. And I can tell you there were companies that took me half a year to invest because it took me half a year to cross the chasm of believing in the team, that the team is strong enough or that there's something that we call, there's product market fit that everybody knows, but there's also what's called a founder product fit or a founder market fit. And so, many times it takes me a period of time to get to know the founders, to believe that they're the right people to win this domain. And many times they're great people, but they're just not the right people for this domain. So it's everything from 1 hour to 6 months. And it is for the entrepreneur to manage the process. That's one of the things that entrepreneurs are missing in most cases. And when I say to manage the process, clearly part of it is creating this vector of movement of investors that are starting to invest in your company, because investors at the end of the day, they're people, and as people, well, most of them are people, and as people there is the herd effect. And when you hear that other people have started committing, it makes your life a lot easier. And so as investors, you need to sort of plan to have everything culminates to people starting to invest and then going on and everybody investing. That's in terms of the planning side, which is not always possible. But it's when I say managing the process, the meaning is that you do not need, you can't let the ball drop. And if you expect the investor to be the one leading the process, then you're wrong, because the investor has 50 like you that are all waiting. And it's going to be the ones that are driving the process that are going to be getting more attention. And so I'm not, and there's the thin line between nagging and overdoing it and running the process properly. But if you're just sitting there waiting for the email to come back and waiting for somebody to set up the meeting and not being proactive, you're losing on two fronts. The first thing is that somebody else is doing it, so you're getting less attention. The second thing, your ability to present the right character to the investor goes away. And so be proactive, manage the process, and know that by basically getting many investors to get to the decision point at the same time, you're dramatically increasing your chance of raising the money you want.